you could change any choice you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of the Inspired Choices Show, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Welcome, everyone. Yes, I am Christine McIver, and this is the Inspired Choices Show, a show where we talk all about business, personal development, being an entrepreneur, the things that stop us, the things that inspire us, and what's going to change things for our deepest desires. So I am your host, Christine McIver, and I'm really thrilled that you are here tonight. Tonight's show is all about business and what conclusions are stopping your business. Before we get into tonight's show, if this is the first time you have ever tuned in, thank you so much. And if you're wondering about who is this person and what do they know about business? Well, I've been in business now for close to 20 years. I have a business background before I started my own business. I have been really evolving and growing and learning, especially at the beginning of businesses going online in a big way. This has been something I love to do, and I love to inspire other people to bring their expertise to the table, especially online. And what I've learned over the years is many people are very shy, apprehensive about bringing their business online in a big way. They don't know. They maybe put up roadblocks mentally, emotionally about doing their business online because they're used to doing it, in front of people. And what I love to do is really show them how they can leverage their business and optimize what it is that they are an expert in and bring that into their business, especially with all of the amazing online tools, so that they can grow their business and get their message out there to the world. Something that I've said a million times is until your voice is added to the conversation does not truly begin. And I mean that in every way, and most especially in business, because what I know will work for some of you and it will really connect with where you're at. And then you may move on, right? You may move on to someone else that is doing something in business that really connects to what your business and you are needing. So when each and every one of us step up to the table and bring our expertise out, those that are in need of it, those that are looking for it, and maybe they don't even know that they're in need of it, they will be able to find it. And when we optimize what we're doing with our businesses online, it gives more and more people the opportunity to be supported. So if you're someone out there that loves to support other people in business, if you're someone who is looking to move into that realm, or if you're just struggling in your business, tonight's show is going to be definitely for you. If any of this sounds interesting, if you'd like to know more about business and what I do one-on-one with my clients, you can reach out to me, Christine, at christinemciver.com. And that's MCIVER. All right, let's get into tonight's show. I'm just going to read it to you so you know exactly where we are starting. So, what conclusions are stopping your business? Tired of hitting the same roadblocks? This show will help you identify and break free from the limiting beliefs that are preventing your business from thriving. Gain clarity, increase confidence, and achieve breakthrough results by understanding the subconscious forces at play. We will challenge the assumptions and mental blocks holding your business back, as well as dive into the dive into the conclusions, pardon me, both big and small, that entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators unconsciously draw, which may be its limiting belief about your markets, or a decision-making shortcut you've been relying on, or even an outdated strategy that no longer serving you. We'll cover the hidden barriers keeping you stuck. So, first of all, the very first thing that really pops up for me is how many of you are willing to acknowledge that there are things that are holding your business back beyond the economy, beyond the lack of clients, that are at the table for you? And are you someone that is willing to do enough personal development that you're going to dive into looking at what's going on with you, what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your beliefs? One of the greatest things that you as a business individual, as well as a human being, but one of the greatest things that you as a business individual, a CEO or a leader can do is dive into self-awareness. What is self-awareness? It's something lots of people say, but I don't think a lot of people truly understand what self-awareness is. So it's being aware of yourself. It's really doing that, hovering behind, watching what you're doing, watching your trigger points, really listening to and becoming aware of, hey, I'm really using a lot of conclusion words. I'm really using a lot of negative words. I'm really using a lot of lack words. All of those different types of things, when you become aware, when you're present enough to become aware of what is going on with you, and it's not just flipping a switch. This takes work and practice. But when you do, you start to see the weeds within your beautiful crop of your business. And I truly believe that until you are leaning in to your self-awareness, you're not going to be able to unpack the blocks and the limitations that you have in business. And I can tell you with absolute confidence that every single person has blocks and limitations in their business. If they didn't, they wouldn't need to be hiring marketers. They wouldn't need to be promoting. They wouldn't need to be taking classes. They would just be attracting into them so much business that it keeps them happy and satisfied and really brings them the desires that they've been dreaming about. So this is not to ridicule anyone. This is not to stop anyone from believing themselves. It's really what I want to do tonight is I want to shine a light on the conclusions and how much your limiting beliefs are impacting your conclusions, are really driving your conclusions. So if you are joining us tonight and you have any questions, please join us in the chat room. You can go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room and type your questions in there, and I'd be happy to answer them. If you are listening to this post-production, so today is Wednesday, January the 22nd, 2025. If you're listening to this after this date, do send me an email with any of your questions or your comments. I really do love receiving them and I love answering them. So you can, again, Christine at ChristineMcIver.com. So one of the biggest conclusions that I see people making is it's always been this way. Whether you're in your own business or you're in somebody else's business that you've been working for a long time, people use that conclusion. It's always been this way. Now, a lot of people will have experienced that when they are the new person in the operation in the company and they will have an idea and somebody will come forward and go, slow down, Sally. This is the way it's always been done, which really the underlying of that is people are afraid of their business or their position is going to be eliminated, that Sally is really going to shine more than they are shining, or that Sally has no idea what she's talking about. Well, a fresh set of eyes can make such a big difference in seeing things from a different perspective. And so that's where when you are doing self-awareness and really committed to self-awareness, that's where you're starting to have a fresh set of eyes and you get to start looking at what it is that you're doing in your business, the thoughts and the beliefs that you're having that are driving a lot of the blockages that are happening for you. So when you are looking at this is the way it's always been, think about maybe your finances. If you're someone who right now or in the near past has been struggling with your finances, how much of that this is the way it always is. Oh my gosh, here we go again. Why does this always happen to me? There it is again. How am I going to ever get past this? Is this ever going to change? Do you have any of those thoughts that run through your head? Hands up, my friends. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody else, but be honest with yourself. When those thoughts are coming through, when something happens in your business, when you receive one of those big bills, or when you get short on clients and you don't have as much income, cash flow as you require, when those thoughts start to come in automatically, and even if it's for a millisecond, you've got conclusions running big time. Those conclusions, you've decided somewhere in your past, in your belief system, that this is real and true. And so, what you want to do is you want to become self aware of, oh my gosh, I said that again. Wow. I didn't even realize that I thought that so much. I didn't realize that I said that so much. And you know what? Saying it to somebody else is not great. But when you're saying it to yourself, you're buying into that belief again and again and again. So, really paying attention to those conclusions, which they're going to pop up by your words, they're going to come pop up by your thoughts. So, if you desire to have more income, but you've concluded that this is the way it always goes for me, how is that an open invitation for change to come forth? Your words, think of your words as closed doors or open doors. Okay. When you say something, when you have conclusionary thoughts or words, that's a door that closes. When you have open possibility thoughts, those doors are opening. So, for instance, in this case of conclusionary, this is the way it always happens for me with money. When you receive a bill and you're so self-aware, you go, oh, I can feel my body tensing. And you're like, okay, all right. So what's the first thing to do? Well, the first thing to do is to breathe, to calm your nervous system, to calm your body, and to give yourself energetic space and maybe even physical space. Maybe you get up and you walk away from your computer, or maybe you put your phone down. Maybe you put that bill off to the side just for a little while. This is not about denial. This is about taking space to get yourself grounded back into your power. Then, when you come back 5 minutes, an hour later, you come back to that bill, you come back to that situation, you look at it and you go, okay, so I have had every day has been successful in my life because I've always found a way. Now, what opportunity is here for me to find a way through this? When you start to really ask those questions, that's where those doors of possibilities open. And I'm not talking about this from a woohoo perspective where you just like throw it up in the air and hope to God something happens. I'm really talking about putting that question out there and being open to receive a new thought, a new idea, or a new opportunity that comes to you. Because when your doors of conclusions are locked in, you are not in receiving. You're not in receiving of new opportunities with business. I have done this. I'm telling you, I have gone through this with myself so many times, banging my head against the wall, thinking, why is this not changing for me? And it's not about anybody else out there. It was about the conclusions that I kept having. You're normal, by the way, if you've had these conclusions. If you had them today, you are normal. But you have the power to change these conclusions because conclusions are decisions that you've made before you've even asked a question. A conclusion is something that you've locked in, and that's the way it always is. No, that may have been the way it was in the past, but going forward, it can be something different. The conclusions of finances are so loud for so many people because when you are struggling and when finances are so tight and you're having a challenge to pay the bills, it's incredibly difficult to not go down that path. if you've gone down that path in the past, I want you to really ask yourself, am I willing to change this? Am I really willing to change this so that the next time something comes forth, I am in the power seat, not in the victim seat? Ask yourself that question. It's a tough question. It's a tough thing to really have that deep conversation with yourself. But I'm telling you, nothing is going to change until you choose to change it. You're going to be on that treadmill of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be successful. And there is an endless amount of prosperity in the world waiting to come to you. Open the doors. And on that note, we got to pay some bills. So we're going to go for our first commercial break. You are listening to Christine McIver. I'm your host here on the Inspired Choices Show. Tonight, we're talking all about business, my favorite subject, and the topic, what conclusions are stopping your business? Stick around, my friends. We have got a lot more to share with you. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome, everyone. If you are just joining, you're listening to Christine McIver, and tonight we're talking all about what conclusions are stopping your business. Some of the conclusions that I talked about in the first segment was around your belief systems and around what you've always said or been doing in the past. And I gave an example about finances. Another big one that people make, the assumptions that people make, and just check in on you if this is something that you've been doing, is do you make market assumptions? Are you looking outside of yourself and looking at people perhaps that are in your industry and you're seeing them be successful? And do you ever have those assumptions that, well, I can never be as good as they are? Oh, they're struggling. Oh my gosh, if they're struggling, then I'm definitely going to struggle. Or they've been doing it longer than me. So therefore, it makes sense that they'll have more business than I'll have. Or do you listen to them speak and you hear them be very eloquent and very professional and very, very thought worthy? And do you naturally assume that you cannot be as good as them? Are you making these assumptions? And what you're actually doing is comparing yourself. And when you're comparing yourself to someone else, the primary thing that comes through is your insecurities about yourself. We do not compare ourselves to others and go, I'm so much better than that person. Like, I am going to make so much more money than they are. No, we generally don't. We may get into a place of being kind of naughty like that sometimes, but for the most part, when I'm talking about the assumptions, is we're coming from a place of insecurity, lack of confidence. Really, our place is the thoughts of, I'm not good enough. How many things do you look at each and every day where your thoughts or your words come at, or you just have this trigger that happens, which is all driven by, I'm not good enough? If you could begin, and this is just a little exercise, begin to write down when you are getting these assumptions in your mind, or the assumptions are coming out of your mouth, or even have a colleague. I have a dear friend, Danielle Carter, and I know Danielle's listening tonight, and we do a lot of creative ideas together. We do a lot of personal development together. And we will say, hold on, what did you just say? And we'll call each other out, always wrapped up in love, but we will call each other out. And I will, or she will go, oh yeah, you're right. I did say that. And that is having like a self-awareness buddy. And if you have a self-awareness buddy, have this conversation, have a deep conversation about how important this is and what you desire to have change or come out of your life, where you're struggling, the assumptions, the blocks that you're seeing. When you can have an accountability buddy like that, or you're writing your thoughts, your limitations down throughout your day, you're going to start to be able to be empowered to change them. Now, this is something I always say at the end of every show, but I really want to say it right now, is like, you can always make another choice. Whatever blocks or limitations you have had up to this very minute in time, you can change them. But if you are not willing to look at them, if you're not willing to unpack them, if you're not willing to change the programming that you've got running, and we all have programming running, 80% of everything you think and 80% of everything you say is previously programmed. It's previously programmed from the environment that you have been around. And if you don't know this, a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. So if you are over the age of 20, you have had a lot of things that you've bought into as real and true, and you've kept thinking them, kept believing them, you've kept having those thoughts, which has more secured them like deep, deep weeds in the ground than you can ever even imagine. That takes labor to change it. It takes focused consciousness to change those belief systems. It's not overnight. And sometimes it can be incredibly frustrating, but you have the power to change it. And I know you can, because I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, that it's been 15 and a half years since I stopped smoking. And I sometimes, when it pops into my mind about smoking, I was watching a show and they were smoking a lot in the show. Didn't trigger me. It actually made me go, I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore. But I really thought about that. That was a very, very challenging behavior to change. And it was because of the programming that I bought into, that I needed a break, that it helped me with my stress, that, it just took me away from difficult situations. I bought into that was the answer. And it might have been for a while for me. But then my desires changed. So it took a deep, concentrated effort to change that. Your thoughts are so automatic, your programming is so deeply automatic, that when you want to change it, it requires a minimum of 3 weeks. I would say it's more like 6 months of real concentrated effort, filling your thoughts with the positives of what you want to be saying and believing, really up leveling your personal development. Most books, I would say 95% of the books that I read or the books that I listen to are about either personal development or they're about business. I do get the occasional, I love biographies as well. I just finished the first one of Shares. It was fantastic. Anyways, but what are you filling your mind up with and your thoughts? Are you putting in a concentrated effort to support you? Because you're not going to change anything if you're not supporting yourself in a way. So you need to put these tools in position. Market assumptions, assuming that the way the market is, assuming, oh, my mom, God bless my mother, um, she would call me up sometimes. This used to make me just crack up. She would call me up sometimes and she would say, "Oh my gosh, things are getting really tight out there. The money is really the economy." And she would go on and on and on because she listened to the news again. She would have the radio on all the time because she loved music. But then, the news would come in at noon and different times throughout the day. And then she would watch the 6 o'clock news. God bless her. She would do this every night. And then she would be telling me about all these terrible things. And I would say, "Mom," she would ask me, "Do you know this?" And I would say, "No, Mom." And a number of times I used to say to her, "Was there a fire last night?" And she'd go, "What are you talking about, Christine?" "Was there a fire last night? Like, did somebody pile up all the money in the world and did they burn it?" And, "Oh, Christine." And I would say, "Mom, there's no less money in the world today than there was yesterday. That's not important to me. What's important to me is that I'm showing up and I'm doing my best and I'm communicating and I'm becoming the best business person that I can be." And after a while, she would go to say it and then she would go, "Never mind. You're going to be just fine." And that told me that she heard me and she started to change her belief system around all of the news that they were taking traction on. So if you are assuming that the market, what's going on in the market is something that you have no impact on, then you're bringing what's outside there into you. Now, of course, that there will be different things that go on in the world that may have an impact on you. But I'll tell you something. You can become Teflon when you're not willing to take that assumption that what is going on in the market is going to affect every single solitary person that's going to come in contact with you. There are billions and trillions and godzillions of money in the world. There really is prosperity everywhere. And the people that are out there, bringing us the bad news, it's because they make money from people tuning in, and people will tune in to bad news better than they will, more often than they will to good news. And that's one of the reasons that you see so much of that. So please look at your target and what you want to be creating in your business. Look at the things that you're doing and really pay attention to your market within your business and have someone that you work with. You should have a business coach. I have a business coach. I think the best business coaches in the world have business coaches because they are challenged to become better and better and really see the truth. Because we get so locked up in our own reality and we can get so, just running around, the crazy can be running around in our head. But when we have a coach that can help us to step back and look more at what's going on and what the opportunities are for us, we can change what's happening. Another really big thing that people do a ton of assumption on is technology. They do this huge wall goes up about technology, like, "Oh, I'm really bad at computers. Oh, computers frustrate me. Oh, I always struggle with computers. Oh, I'm always having trouble. My computer's never working properly. I can never find anything." I've had to call out so many people when they are saying things like this. And I will just ask them, and these are brilliant people that do amazing work in the world. And I will say to them, "What did you just say? What conclusion are you coming to? What are you kind of boxing into your reality with those words?" What I really encourage people from a technology perspective is, instead of assuming you're not going to get that program, ask from what kind of support do I need with this? How do I best learn? Do I best learn by listening? Do I best learn by reading? Am I more of a hands-on person? I know myself, I love to listen and watch, and then I like to have a hands-on approach. If somebody can walk beside me in the initial, that really, really helps me. That's the way that I learn. I do not learn by just reading. I will bring that tool in after the fact to deepen my understanding, but that's not the way that I learn. So what way do you learn that you can get some support to learn technology that's going to support you in a better way? Are you open to getting better with technology? Are you? Or have you decided you're going to be a queen and you're going to sit on your throne and everybody else is going to do everything for you? If you have the funds and the lifestyle to do that, go for it. But if you're struggling in your business and those are some of the words that come out, you need to start looking at the words and the thoughts that you are having on a daily basis. They will have massive, massive impact on your business, and they will slow you down. They will even, when you buy into these beliefs, you'll even distract yourself with other things that are happening and actually pull you away from tools that can be supporting and making your business more streamlined. They can be making just your days and nights so much easier in your business. But you've got to be willing to make the change. You've got to be willing to do the work. And it's not as difficult as it seems. You know, most people don't even realize how much assumptions they are making in their mind and with their words. They don't hear themselves because we have a limited catalog of words that we use and a limited catalog of beliefs that we've chosen. Well, if you're operating from limited in those two areas, how are you going to move forward and evolve in your business? That's where this self-awareness is so critical. All right, we are up to our next break. Do not go away. I've got lots more for you. I'm going to give you lots of tips and tools on how you can change all of this as well. You are listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices Show, and we're on our home platform, Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. Welcome back, my friends. We are in halfway through the show, or a little more than halfway through the show. I still have a lot of things that I want you to really look at where you could be going into conclusions and some of these things that might be holding you back. And then I want to run through a bunch of tips to help you to change this because, hey, that's what we want to do, right? We want to grow and we want to evolve. Again, if you are looking for support in your business, if you're looking to really expand your business and you feel like you're going in six directions, you don't have as much structure, you really feel like you're never getting things done and really getting that traction, let's reach out to me, Christine at christinemciver.com. Let's have a conversation. Let me see if we can possibly support you to help you with your business so that a year from now, imagine 2026, you start a year feeling strong, feeling confident, and feeling like you are organized. I know so many people feel like they're just being pulled in 16 directions, that they need to be doing so many things. And at the end of the month, they're financially struggling. They're struggling with what to be communicating to whom and how to create so many different things so that their businesses can grow. We can support you. We can support you to really move forward. So do reach out to me and let's have a quick conversation. All right. The next assumption that a lot of people make, and oh my gosh, I I know so many leaders and I've been there with this one. The next assumption is employees' capacities. A lot of times employers, leaders will assume that a team member has a skill or has an expertise and they believe that they are fully trained and they know what they're doing and they'll just hand everything over to them, especially if you're an entrepreneur who feels overwhelmed, that you feel like you've got so much on your plate. You hired somebody, it took you too long to find somebody. Now here you go, just take your stuff and run, right? That is doing that person a disservice. When you assume, now it may have said that on their resume, they may have talked the talk, but it's unkind to assume somebody really does have that full capacity. It's so important that we support them, that we really have an onboarding system, that we're guiding them and walking with them to, and being very, very open to answer their questions, being extremely willing for them to make mistakes so we can see where their gaps are. We all have gaps, especially in a new job. You come in, there's a lot of new things to learn, not to mention you're nervous about succeeding. This is a very important thing that we don't assume, because when we assume that an employee has capacities, we might turn a blind eye and they might end up really messing things up. And that will affect our bottom line significantly, maybe even frustrate us to the point that we fire them. And that person loses out on an opportunity, and so do you, and so does your business. The other huge assumption, and this is the one that I did because I was such a frigging control freak, I'm telling on myself right now. But the big assumption that a lot of us make is that the employee does not have the capacity. Nobody can do it as good as we can. Now, what's underneath all of that is fear. Fear that the business isn't going to succeed, fear that we're not going to be able to have things done the way that we know, because we know everything. Sarcasm. The way that we know it needs to be done. All right. Are you making are you making assumptions or conclusions about your employees' capacities? Have you really sat with them and worked with them and understood and given them the space and the opportunity again to fail, and then really living with an open door policy that they can tell you anything? I have amazing team members, and when they mess up, I usually laugh. I just think, I've said to so many of them over the years, it's like, look, don't worry, okay? Like, you didn't kill me or you didn't kill my kids. So we're good. We'll figure this out together. We're human. But if your team members' capacities, if you assume that they're not good enough, you're restricting their input. They're going to get bored. They might feel like they're being, watched over like a hawk. Nobody likes that. Nobody really wants somebody to watch every single step they're making. So they're going to leave because they don't feel empowered. But at the same time, if you give them too much space and they assume like she never checks in with me, he never talks to me, he never asks me any questions, he never gives me any feedback, they may be frightened to come to you. It's very important that you understand, you as a leader, where you need to be with your employees, supporting them, giving them space, but also checking in with them on a regular basis and having regular reviews with them. It's such an important thing for both of you, and your business will prosper when you allow your employees to grow. Another big assumption we make is about our clients' satisfaction. How satisfied are they with the services that we've provided? How satisfied are they? Do we assume that they just love us to death? Or when something goes wrong, do we automatically assume that they hate us? You need to have these conversations and you need to ask these questions with an openness and a willingness to truly listen and grow from that. No organization, there's so many organizations out there now, they want your feedback, they want your feedback. And I don't know, I'm topped up with giving feedback. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But so many of these companies are asking for feedback, but then they're not actually moving forward with doing anything different. It's frustrating. So when you have a one-to-one, face-to-face conversation with a customer, with a client, and you're asking them some questions, it really will serve you to move forward with your business. Another big thing that we do a lot of conclusions is that we assume that our product or service, what we have, meets our customers' needs, or that it is what the market is actually asking for. Now, you can be putting anything out there, and depending upon who your services serve or fulfill, it could be working for them. But if you're looking to grow, you want to do some R&D, right? You want to do some research and development and really follow your awareness. Be open to what else is truly available to you and what would really add to your business and to your customers' needs. So again, that requires being very present and asking questions and not just assuming this has always worked, therefore it always will. No, that's not true. The market changes. Always follow your knowing for you, for sure, but listen to yourself. There was recently something that started pinging me, and my team will know that I'm oftentimes coming up with new ideas. My ideas come from an internal inspiration that will start to pull on me, and I'll start to see different things coming, and I will listen to my intuition. I'll listen to the messages my body is giving me. And when, for me, so from human design, I'm a generator, and I need to allow the attraction for things to come to me. So when these different things come to me on a repeated basis, that's when I start to pay attention. And stay tuned, because we've got something new that we are creating, and I'm super, super, super excited about it. It's like it's in my head going on all of the time. I don't make assumptions that this is good enough, that this is all we can do. I have so much fun in business when I allow these new things to grow and bubble up in my business, and I don't assume that everything is going to hit the jackpot. Sometimes I will create things and they'll be a couple years in advance of when they're really the market's really looking for that, and that's okay. I've learned to allow things to grow. But when you are assuming that your business products and services meet all the needs, you're losing out on new possibilities because you're not open to looking at the possibility of something else that could come. Another huge assumption that we do is we assume that our leadership is working. We assume that our leadership is, it's paying the bills, we have employees, we have customers, everything's working. Don't assume that. You are only, in my interesting point of view, you are only as strong as what you invest in you every single day in your business. What did you do today to grow you? You, the leader of the business, is the most important ingredient. And if you assume that your leadership is good enough, you will probably be surprised to see the challenges that will start to come if you're not willing to continually develop who you are and the way that you operate in business. And isn't it just boring? Isn't it just boring as heck to always do things the same old way? It really loses the shine when we're not willing to continue to grow. All right, we are up to our final break of the show. My gosh, this is going faster than I expected, but we'll get through it. So, my friends, you're listening to Christine Inspired Choices. This is a show. We're talking about business assumptions tonight. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this break.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Absolutely. I love your feedback. I love your questions. I love people who challenge me. Let's have a conversation. Let's see what it is that's working for you, what you don't understand, what you agree with, or where you need support. That's what I love to do. That's why I am in business, because of what it does for me when I'm seeing other people grow in their businesses. I know how difficult it was for me, and I know some of the things that absolutely do work. So do reach out to me. Okay, I've gone through a whole bunch of some of the assumptions. The last assumption I want to touch on, and then I'm going to tell you some tips of where you need to be paying attention and what you can do to change. The last one is your operations. A lot of people assume, again, coming back to that first thing that I said, is this is the way it's always been done. When you are not looking at what you're doing, how long each thing is taking you, how long each thing is taking your team with the tools that you are using, when you're not looking at that, you're losing new opportunities. Things are changing all of the time, and we have new tools out there to help us. Now, when you have a new tool that comes in that you use, a new process, yes, you have to slow down to implement it, to learn it, for everybody to get up to speed. You do have to slow down to speed up. But when you are willing to look for new efficiencies, you're willing to be open to what can work even better in your business. When you can save time, when you can move through and have your business grow even bigger because of the new possibilities you're looking at, that is going to be a game changer. I'm telling you, it's gold in your business. So don't assume your operations are all efficient. Ask your team, look at it, go through the processes, and by goodness, have standard operating procedures, SOPs. They should be gone through once a year, and have different team members look at different ones, because they will maybe give you some insight where, no, we don't do it that way anymore. Or what if we tried it this way? Be open to receiving new ideas. Your team are the people who are running the show, and they are the greatest people that can really be helping you to look at that. Before I jump into the tips, I want to tell you next week's show is, what are the gifts of your business to you? What are the gifts? And when you start to look at the gifts that your business is to you, you start to grow even more and have more gifts come in. Okay, into the tips. All right. So the very first thing, if you haven't caught this, is you want to identify your limiting beliefs. Identify those words, all of those words that you're using. Identify where your limiting beliefs are coming out again and again. Remember, write them down. Even doing it for a week, you're going to be blown away at the limiting beliefs that you have and the words that are coming out of your mouth. Be willing to have a partner, an awareness partner, that's going to really point out, hey, I just heard you say this, and let them know what's important to you so you can change this even faster. The next thing is to challenge your assumptions. So when you are questioning these long held truths, and you are really questioning, is this still true for me? Is that what I still believe? Is that what's important to me today? Is that still a value for me? Is that the most important value? What are my top values today in my world? Challenge those assumptions, challenge your beliefs, because when you do that, you're going to increase your awareness, and you're going to start opening up to new opportunities. It's so, so important. Pardon me. You want to explore the influences, the subconscious influences that you surround yourself with. It might be social media. It might be people that are posting on social media, and you're following them and you're buying into it without question. There might be people that you've surrounded yourself with. People that are not very positive, people that do use a lot of these negative beliefs, people that are putting a lot of the opposite of what you're trying to change within yourself. You're hearing it from them all the time. Those, when you are hearing that again and again, subconsciously, they are influencing you. Pay attention to what you surround yourself with. Just like I don't watch the news. I get little news tips so I know exactly what's happening, and that's it. I don't dive deep into it because it does influence my thoughts. Update, as I said before, update your outdated strategies in your business, update your strategies even in the way that you work, update your strategies in the way that you show up in the world. Pay attention, question yourself. When you're working with a coach, tell them some of these things that you've learned about and some of the things that you want to change. Hey, I really want to improve my strategies here, or I really want to pay attention to my self-awareness and I want to increase that. Those are the people that can help you to really change it. Be willing to embrace some fresh perspectives. Be willing to look at things from a different angle and ask some new questions. You deserve to be happy. You also deserve to grow in your business. As I said, lack is not real. We have got an endless amount of prosperity in the world. We are the only ones keeping that prosperity from ourselves. Of course, increase your self-awareness, as we've been talking about throughout the entire show. Enhance your decision-making tools. Find new tools that can really assist you in making some decisions, like what I've talked about in human design. I've really used a lot of those tools to help me. Build your self-confidence. Learn about how you can build your self-confidence, and begin to take action in new ways. Start to believe that everything that you've believed in the past is not true, and you can grow and you can evolve, and your business can be more successful than it was yesterday. My friends, have fun with all of this. Don't make it a heavy, this is difficult. Don't make it heavy. Be open to the new possibilities. You have opportunities in front of you. And if you've listened to this whole show, thank you so much. I would love to hear about your experiences with this. I'd love to hear about some of the areas where you really need some support. We have some amazing hosts here on the Inspired Choices Network that service and support people in their journey. I do as well. Remember to reach out to me, send me an email, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com, or you can go to my website, ChristineMcIver.com. Let's have a conversation. Let's really change what's not working in your business, and what's not working in the world that you would like to change and be a part of changing. So until next week, my friends, remember that you can always make another choice. It's within your reach.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.